Good evening to you. My name is Adebusui Olutayo Olumadewa from Waohlife, my Jesus Christ story. How are you doing today? This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and we are glad in it. I'm so happy to join you again on this wonderful edition of Parenting with Tim Carl. Tim Carl, which is Florence Carl Ogu and Chukwueke Carl Ogu, are both from Tim Carl, and the families that form Tim Carl, an author, a parenting expert, and those who believe in inspiring others to be best of themselves. So this wonderful evening, every Wednesday from Lagos, every Wednesday 10 p.m. West African time, we interact with Team Cal on the topic parenting. And today we're starting what we call, and today we have Parenting 101 as the course, in which we want to talk about why to parenting, the impact of parenting, the beauty of parenting, and why it's important for every man and woman, every boy and girl, every male and female to understand parenting. Why? Because every boy is dreaming to be a parent, and every girl is also dreaming to be what? A parent. So it's gonna be awesome again this wonderful evening from Lagos, Nigeria. And I want to tell you, wherever you are joining us from, just post it. Let us know where you are joining us from. Why? Because it's going to be awesome again this wonderful evening. Just take a drink. So while we wait for Tim Carr, I just want to remind you that the last week we talked about some of the great things. Yeah. And it's very awesome. Tim Carl shared with us that yielding to God is important. So I understand Tim Carl is online now. We'll go live with them. Thank you. Yes. Wow. Good evening, sir. Good evening, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just in time. We give glory to God. We can always get better and better. Hallelujah. That I did not go and cheat the nature, or I did, or the nature did not cheat himself, or I did not cheat the nature this time, of which other one. Thank you so much. So we go straight to where we are here today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adebusui Olutayo Olumadewa from Waohlife, my Jesus Christ story, online again with wonderful, beautiful, wonderful couple from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm talking about Tim Carl, Florence, and Chukwueke Carl. Dynamic, wonderful, great family, born of God, seasoned to God, sold out to Jesus Christ, doing marvelous, great, magnificent things in depopulating the kingdom of darkness by impacting people with the investment of their personality. So this wonderful evening again, we'll continue what we started, parenting series, and today we're talking about parenting 101. We're going straight to the beauty of it, and I'm so happy. Praise the Lord. So over to you, sir. Why parenting? Why parenting? Of all the beautiful things that is happening in the world, why parenting? Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, so the question is why parenting? So the question I'll ask you, why not parenting? why not parenting? Parenting. So if we track back to our discussion over the couple of weeks, we've established that parenting is modeling, and modeling is key in the world of today, especially because um, we live in a world where we have we do not know where to draw the lines anymore. So it's key to model what it should be, and that's the whole essence of parenting: guidance and modeling. The Bible says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he becomes old, he will not depart from it." What that means is you are modeling and you are guiding, so that the child can, take those principles that you've modeled and build a life out of it. And why it is extremely important, especially for those of us who are called out of the world, Christians, is because we need to model a life that is different from the world, right? And our children need to see us living that life and understand that it is possible. Yeah, possible to do the right thing. But Tayo, before now, when you watch TV, or even, generally before now, when they tell you to define what a family is, you would say father, mother, and children. But we live in a world where father, children, mother, children, single mother, children, single father, children. The definitions are getting more by the day. So the question is, what do you model to a child who is totally confused of what a family should be? What do you model? So the question now is that we've given so many definitions to so many things. So it is important that we need to model and guide children in the right path. Because if we don't, they grow up in confusion and, and they just live life as if that's the way it is. But we need to help them, we need to shape them, we need to guide them.
Wow, thank you so much. Ma'am, let me hear from you before we go to the topic today. Let me hear from you. Why parenting?
Why parenting? Apart from modeling that my husband talked about, for some days now or for some weeks now, we've also been hammering on influence. And that's almost the same. It's preparing the next generation. Parenting is one of the ordained way of nurturing the next phase, the next generation. For instance, I think I did mention the other time that for every child, for every boy you are parenting, that is someone's husband. It means you are preserving the next generation. For every girl you parent properly, that is someone's wife. It means you are preserving the next generation. But because it is a cycle, it is not just someone's wife. That is also someone's mother and someone's father. So parenting sustains generations. Parenting sustains the cycle of reproduction. Now, parenting, I'm sure we'll come to not just parenting, but effective parenting. But I tell you, if you want to link parenting to nurturing, they will say that it is very important because that is what preserves legacy. That's what preserves culture. That's what preserves belief. That's the cycle of reproduction. That's what preserves it. Because if parenting is a process of nurturing, imagine what happens when nurturing doesn't take place. If nurturing doesn't take place, the opposite of nurturing automatically takes place. You get it? So I would link, taking what my husband said, apart from modeling, another one is nurturing. To nurture. That's why I would say that, like, you are nursing. You're nursing a child. But this time you're not nursing a child, you're nursing a generation. Because for everyone you parented one person, but that is a nation. It's a nation. So if you look at the fact that you're not parenting Davina, you are parenting a nation. So when you see a nation inside every child, that is what happens. So why parenting? That's because you are breeding and nurturing a nation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Why, from the two sides, we both agree that modeling is key.
Yeah.
Modeling is key. And it's paramount for us to let the world know, to let the children know that doing right things is key. Why? Because it is what they see us do that they're going to do right. Wow. Thank you so much. And you're telling us again, it is preserving generations. I think you people should be talking to state governors. Why the importance of parenting to a state.
Yeah.
I think we should start taking those bold steps.
Yeah.
Instigate such importance of parenting to a state.
Yeah.
Thank you. So now, I would like to ask you a question. You're talking about nurturing. And inside that nurturing is formative years. I would like you to expatiate something about formative years, because I think I heard somebody say something that you only owe his child or his children first 14 years.
Yeah. True.
That after 14 years, he believes he has sown a great seed. So I just want you to touch on nurturing and on nurturing, as in the broad aspect of nurturing based on the formative years. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you know the way it is. A child grows up. So I remember I had a mentor at a point that I was also in their space, like I was in the house. Then I saw his son. All grown now. He's a teenager now. So, but that time he was so young. He was young. When he started, they moved to a new apartment. So the what do they call them? The appliances were on the floor. They were yet to bring in the furnitures. So his dad uses this because he's tall. He uses his feet to put on the home theater. He does that consistently instead of bending down. So he feels lazy and too tired sometimes to bend down. So he uses his feet. Do you know that was how this boy? It took a long time to let him know that you are even still small. You're on the floor. You don't need a feet. Just touch it. It will come on. The boy will consistently want to use his feet to put on the home theater. That is how strong deposits and withdrawal is. When I say withdrawal has to do with the reactions or the outcomes of what has been deposited. So nurturing like pouring in. There is no way you pour a brown drink into a transparent bottle and you automatically see red inside the brown is inside the transparent bottle or container. What you pour inside is what you see. So the formative stage is a very blank stage, such that whatever you put in is what remains. But the amazing thing is that it is not really not like it even remains as such. It magnifies, it reproduces, it swells up. Just like you buy a derica of rice in this part of the world, you have a derica of rice. When you put that derica of rice inside water, it starts gaining, like adding flesh, for lack of a better word. And then when you boil it, if you look at the cup you measured and put inside that pot, that is not the same that comes out. The one you measured most likely will not be able to feed 3 people, but the one that comes out will most likely feed 5 people. So the formative stage is that blank stage where whatever you put in grows up with the child. And that is why if a parent misses the formative stage, it will take the grace of God to undo what has been done. When you see most of the dysfunctional adults out there today, it is usually as a result of wrong or faulty formative stage. the faulty nurturing that took place. So everybody, every parent has the opportunity of molding a generation. However, that formative stage is when we get busy. That is when we run after greener pastures. That's where, Carl and I, some people look at us. I think we've even shared it one time that we asked our kids, we say, are we too available? Are we too available? Now, I'm sure in between all of these discussions, there's a time we'll talk about overparenting. So even in the midst of all of this, we draw the line, we know when to allow them to do what and all of that. But we understand the importance of the formative stage and the intentional nurturing that should take place during the formative stage. And so what we do is to give that time to that stage, because nobody can do it for us, not even our house help. They can do it for us. So that intentional nurturing has to be by the two people that God has entrusted, like caretakers, that God has entrusted these children to. Having in mind that, you rightly said, we tell parents, our academy will run for parents, that a time will come when you cannot begin to teach a 15-year-old what you should have taught 5 years when the child was 5 years. It is not possible. It will misfit. In fact, my husband has a way of putting it. It is like wanting to bend it, it will break. So you see how powerful. I can go on and on talking about the nurturing that takes place during the formative stage. That is just it. It's just like the foundation. What happens? We saw a building, because Carl is the one that can point out something that is not. That's our strategist. He sees what is not standing well. Carl can point out something that is bending from I will see it very straight. Carl will bring out something out of it, and I'm like, and I didn't notice it. So we saw a building that was bent, looking like it's supposed to be new, and it's looking. And then Carl said the foundation, like two. One is water, the other one is the foundation. This one will fall, it will collapse. That is what happens. It is the foundation. So the foundation stage is like the nurturing. It's like the formative stage. What do you put into that stage? Because that's what the child grows with. Have something.
Over to you, sir.
Don't say my wife has said it all.
She meant some things. So
yeah.
Let me. Okay. So yes, the formative, very critical, sir. Very, very critical. Very critical. It's like when a seed of corn is growing, when it first of all sprouts, there's so much insecurity. It's so fragile, it's so tender, and you need to guide that, or else it will die. You need to guide it, and that's the beauty of the formative stage. Children absorb everything. They're like sponges. So the danger of the formative stage is that children believe that their parents or their guardians are superheroes.
Yeah.
They believe they are perfect.
Yeah.
They can do no wrong. And whatever you do is the perfect thing. So if your daddy is beating his wife, it is the perfect thing to do.
Yeah.
Children see their parents as their superheroes until a certain age when they start saying, this daddy can make mistake, this daddy can lie. But at that formative stage, their parents are their superheroes. And superheroes do no wrong. So at that stage, they accept, and at that point, their minds are like a clear slate that can accept almost anything and everything. Right? They believe they can fly. They believe nothing can hurt them. They believe everything is virtually possible. So it is now left for the parent to model and to shape their belief system and their values. And if at that point, and that's what I tell you, when you have a plant, there's a time you can bend and shape it and push it to the wall so that it grows. Once the plant is standing, if you try to push, you break it. Yeah, you break it. So it's at that point you can start, shaping values, shaping their belief system, respect, all of those things that need to be put in place. Because if you don't, you lose. And this whole issue of parenting, I just like to relate it to our relationship with God. He's our Father. Why does God actually parent us as children of God? Why has He given us a manual, the Bible? Why has He given us Jesus, our model? It is to shape behavior and to shape character, which means that at the end of the day, we need to mature to a point where we fully represent God and can act in His stead, can represent God here on earth. And that's what parenting basically is. That at the end of the day, I can transfer everything I believe and everything I know to you. That even if I'm not there, you can represent and behave in the same like manner that I would have behaved or responded given certain circumstances. So that is what God does with us, and that is what we are expected to do with our own siblings,
Our own children.
our own children. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So you're telling us now that parenting is a big deal, is an huge industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Wow, wow, wow. Totally different for family, right?
Yeah.
Like my wife said, I mean, all of the problems you see in the world today
Can be traced to parenting.
are traced to dysfunctional parenting.
Yeah.
All of the problems. All.
Marriage, terrorism. I mean, marriage meaning divorce. Like if we're talking about the negatives,
Abuse,
drug abuse,
vandalism,
parenting.
Parenting gone wrong.
Parenting gone wrong. That's a good title.
Wow, wow. So let's quickly talk about the effects of parenting. Effects of parenting. Let's take it one after the other. Effect of parenting. Over to you, man. Effect of parenting.
We say effects. Do we want to say maybe the negative effect or the positive? We have the negative effects, we have the positive effects, but let's even start with the negatives, all right? Because it's part of what we just mentioned. When parenting doesn't go right, like Carl just said, I mean that's really a book title. We say the parenting gone wrong. So when it's not rightly done, it will affect the generation. I mean, here in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, we are based in Lagos. Something happened a few months ago. They call it NSAS. It was meant to be a peaceful protest, right? And then they said it was hijacked. The question I kept asking was, who hijacked it? People parented by people. So that's it. That's it. Funny enough, yes, people were used to hijack. That's not the issue. If people were used, who were those people used? Young people, right? Children. That's it. That's an effect. Because a child that has been properly parented, number one, you won't even be in an environment that will make someone to put your life at risk. To say, take this money and go and alter or scatter a peaceful protest or go and be vandalizing. Like we live close to a place where we literally saw the bosses somewhere in Lagos here that got burnt. Who set those bosses on fire? People that were parented by people. So I mean the effect of parenting, I have this guy that does designs for us. He designs some of the things, maybe our books and all of that. And then he just updated on his status that his house was burgled. They got to his house. They made away with his laptop. He was even crying that it was more of the files they had and all of that, not necessarily that expensive laptop. And the question I asked is, who entered his house to steal his laptop? A child that was parented by someone. So can't you see that everything, so when we say everything, it is not, as a matter of fact, I feel we have not even exhausted it. It is so much. the negative effect of parenting, it can crumble any nation. So you want to talk about the issues going on in marriages today? Who parented that man that is beating his wife? So domestic violence is one of the effect of parenting, negative effect of parenting. My husband, Carl, just said, when a child sees the father abusing the mother because you have been seen as a superhero, whatever you do is right. That's what the child picks up, because like we said, it's a clean slate. Whatever you put inside is what you get. So imagine the redefinitions going on now. Who parented the person that says man and man created he them? Male and male. Who made homosexuality normal? Parenting. How did we parent a generation that has really decorated the wrong thing to become normal? How did we miss it? Parenting. The formative stage. How did we make it so easy for another man to take another man's life? Parenting. That someone can boldly shoot down, gun down somebody. Parenting. So death, theft, murder, everything, those are the effect of parenting gone wrong. And if we don't address it, if we are not intentional enough to address it, but for God's grace, it will only get worse. So if we don't go back, and you see some of these effects, we don't know how they come to our corridor sometimes. God will protect us, yes. So if we want to talk about the effect of parenting gone wrong, look at everything bad happening. Because we're in Nigeria, let us take Nigeria for example. Everything bad happening in Nigeria now, just put it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the effect of parenting gone wrong.
Wow. Sir, before you come up, I just want you to know this. I need you to, you said effect of parenting. Mom said effect of parenting, they are much. Is it possible we name them one after the other? Do you understand? As many, the negative effect. Because sometimes we try to think people actually know that this is the effect of why I'm beating my wife. This is the seed I'm sowing. But you see, or let me just use this analogy. If you meet somebody that smokes, and the guy said, why do I do that? I really don't know. I just saw some people doing it, and I want to do it. He does not really know why he does such. He just believes he wants to feel like a jigger. So I'm saying this. Mom, she's saying that parenting gone wrong, and she actually talked about, let's say, use the analogy of the NSAS. If you're going to share something, is it possible you go deeper and maybe point out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 effects of parenting gone wrong, so that we can know, each and every one of us can pick our own, the one that's applicable to myself, the one that's applicable to somebody in Russia, the one that's applicable to somebody in the United States, the one that's applicable to somebody in UAE. Why? Because she said the effect is wild, because a dysfunction kids will travel to another country, still manifest the seed sown. I hope you get what I'm trying to communicate, sir. Over to you. Over to you. Over to you.
To the effects now.
Okay, I should still
Over
talk.
to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, I thought you wanted her to narrow down. So I think there's something very critical we need to establish here. That parenting, whether we like it or not, parenting will be done. Which means that irrespective of the fact that a child has parents or does not have parents, the child will be modeled, and his value belief systems will be shaped. However, parenting also is a function, it's a function of the beliefs and the values of a particular environment. Which means that if I'm in Nigeria, I will parent the Nigerian way, which is a reflection of our beliefs, our customs, our values, and our way of life. And if I am in Republic of China, I will parent given the as a function of the environment in which I find myself. If I'm in Afghanistan, I will parent, but my parenting will be a function of the environment in which I find myself, which means that most likely my parenting style and my actions will be largely determined by the customs, beliefs, and the expectations of that environment. So you'll see that there are environments where crime or sexual immorality or whatever is not a big deal. So children can grow up from that environment and take on those values and traits without necessarily seeing them as negative or contradictory. So you see that modeling is largely a function of the environment in which you find yourselves and the values that each individual or family or community holds dear to themselves, right? So we need to establish that before we now even go into what is right and what, because at the end of the day, when we now start saying what is right or wrong, it becomes subjective to the region, to the location, or to the environment in which we find ourselves.
That's it.
PhD lecturer.
So I can say, oh, if a child is not behaving well, I can take a koboko and flog sense into that child. But I can't do that in the UK. Which means that though it's my way of parenting, but my way of parenting needs to be subject to the environment in which I'm finding myself. Right? Subject to the values, the best practices around that environment. So we need to establish that so that we don't generalize and say this is right parenting, this is wrong parenting. Because modeling and parenting, since we understand that each environment is different, so it means that to bring up a sane child in Europe, I will need a different strategy in bringing up a sane child in Europe than bringing up a sane child in Africa. However, there are certain things that may be general, certain underlying factors that are general, that are foundational. However, largely, my strategies will be different because of the environment and because of the peculiarities of that environment. Yeah. So it means that there is no one size fits it all. You need to evolve and understand expectations of where you are. You need to understand the expectations of it, so that at the end of the day, when you raise a child, the child is not a misfit in that environment. It's not a misfit in that environment. So that's I felt.
So should we not say that some of these effects we are talking about should be, so effect is usually from these expectations now, from the environment, right? When it is not. Okay.
So then again, so now we've laid that foundation that there's an environmental factor that is very critical. Now the next thing again that also is a major problem that leads to failed parenting is the fact that because we've talked about modeling, parents most often think that they own the child. You don't own any man. You don't have the capacity to own any soul.
Yeah.
You are only given the privilege of taking care for a time being. It's just like Joseph thinking that he owns Jesus Christ. The God, how can you own God? It's not possible. You were just given the privilege to model that, to parent that child within that. So because we don't understand that even a baby has a mind of his own. A baby is a full human being that should be respected. That's where we get it wrong, because when you are trying to enforce your beliefs and your ways and everything, that's where we miss it most times. That we forget that that person is also an independent person with a mind of his own that needs to understand what we are doing and why he needs to do what we are saying he should do. So I think that's where we get it wrong. That's why most times we even get situations where we have a pastor's child that would necessarily have been brought up in a sane environment, manifesting in a different way. And you're asking yourself, what went wrong? How did it go wrong? It is because there is an environmental factor. There's the factor that the child is a human being first before he's a pastor's child.
Yeah.
And then there are expectations of the environment and expectations of the parents. And we need to find that balance. We need to find that balance because I do a lot of training and teaching and facilitating. And one of the things that I am very certain about is the fact that until the student has learned, the teacher has not taught. So if the student has not learned, the teacher has not taught, there is no way you score yourself for a child failing. It means that you don't know how to teach. Yeah.
What about some children that naturally do not like
to learn?
It
means that you have not learned how to teach them. Then you don't have any business teaching that child. And there's always a disconnect between somebody learning something and somebody applying what they have learned. Yeah, so that is largely a function of the child if he wants to apply. So that is why I said it's very critical that we find that synergy between understanding that the child is a human being, an entity, right? Yeah. And that we don't own any child, right? And that everybody has free will. You don't impose or own any child. And the fact that there are environmental factors, exactly, and then the values of the family, the values of the individual, and all of that. So I think it's a very fragile balance that we need to find. But most times people just throw that to the garbage and they just want to impose everything on that child. Especially because now we live in a very, very global environment. So I think that foundation, we need to lay that foundation. But going back to answer your question, I think the issues of immorality, issues of even children giving into peer pressure.
Yeah, low self-esteem.
Having issues in the way so everything that their parents have modeled, whether it is marriage, whether it is their religion, their faith, whether it is in their work ethics, how to earn money or how to waste money, how to manage relationships.
Yeah.
Everything has been modeled to that child. And if you see that everywhere the child will experience success or failure is a function of what he or she has learned from whoever parented, not only the parents.
Whosoever parented. Yeah.
Whosoever parent. Awesome. I made a statement earlier. I said parenting is a big deal.
Yeah.
We should be saying this at the level of Committee of Nations. And they will not want to listen. So, but our role is to make sure to enforce it on them to listen. And how do they would do that? Would take it to them. Because until you understand the connection between parenting and governance, you've not started living. Parenting, there's a connection between parenting and governance. Imagine you have great, sensible, you have great parented kids in Lagos only. Would the governance be easy for the leadership? So there is a great connection between parenting and governance. So I think government should be listening to people like you now. I think this is your time, and I think we should enforce this energy on the on enforce this energy in the people in power to listen to great things, content like this, because I keep listening to you when just dishing, as if the Holy Spirit is brooding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, he mentioned something. He said teaching is an art, which means parents are great teachers. And you said until a teacher has taught, the student has not what? Until the student has learned, the teacher has not thought. So you are telling us that the parents have to work on themselves also. So what can you say about your last sir? What can you say about your last sentence? Until the teacher has taught, the student hasn't learned, or until the student has learned, the teacher has not taught. How can we model those to parents? You know, because people hustle and bustle of this part of the city, the feeding, the nurturing, the people, parents are going to attribute it, you know, I'm busy, I've got to provide for my household. Let's use yours as a case study. Are you making things work for yourself?
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir, for that question. You know, the act, like you said, the act of teaching. When you So if you want to teach a child to how will I put it now? When you want to teach a child something, and you're trying to teach the child something, and the child is not getting it, most people get easily irritated and offended, and they would now say that the child does not understand, or the child is not intelligent. That's the common assumption. However, it is not that the child is not intelligent. It is just that you have not communicated in a way that child will understand. Which means that now as a parent to calm down and understudy that child and try to find out what is the best learning style or method that child would assimilate from. Now, once you do that, you find out that you may not teach in the conventional way. You may teach using a different method that becomes very relevant to that child. Because that is your primary responsibility. It is your primary responsibility to teach. It is primary. It is primary, right? Because you have been given that capacity, you've been given that grace, that enablement to teach that child, that patience. And that is why there is so much, you know, in life, God does not waste resources. And you ask yourself, why God makes it possible that parents love their children so much? In that love that God has created between parents and children is also the patience to be able to tolerate and to guide children aright. So it means that in that love that you've been given as a parent, you have also been given the capacity for patience to guide that child the best possible way to become what he or she needs to become.
True.
So that love is not a waste. So when parents say, oh, this child is not learning, it's just a function of the fact that the parent does not understand his role in the life of that child. Right? So you need, okay, so let me give a typical example. At some point, our children, our eldest daughter, her maths sum, she was just missing mathematics. She was missing it. And I became very concerned. And I was like, what is she not on that? At some point, I became frustrated because I just didn't understand why she wasn't getting it. So if you tell her, probably say 97, and you put dash 90, you put dash, it's supposed to be 98, but you put dash, then you put 99, then you put dash 100. If you ask her to fill in the gaps, she will not be able to fill it in. But if you ask her to read 90, from 90 to 100, she will read it. So I'm not asking, okay, why can't you fill in the gaps? She won't be able to do that. So at some point I got frustrated and I said, okay, let me calm down. So what did I do? One day I started playing. And you know, as we were playing, we were counting back. So you know how you say, okay, go and hide, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And immediately we were doing that, she was able to count. She was counting with me. So if I said 10, she will say 9. If I say 7, she will say, if I say 8, she will say 7. So automatically, I was skipping numbers and she was filling it in. And she was filling it backwardly, not even in forward progression. So I just knew that, come on, this is doing that thing that seemed impossible for her to do. What happened? Because we were playing and we were reciting, and it was a fun environment.
Experiential.
It was
learning.
Experiential, and automatically grabbed it. So whether we're counting backward, whether we're counting, now she understands that if there's a missing number, she knows what is, she knows it. Now, how did that come about? It was because of the patience I talked about and the capacity to keep exploring. And that's why you would naturally see that, you know, it is critical. It's important that every parent should know that their family is their primary constituency. Like you said in politics, your family is your primary constituency. And sometimes I tell people, wife comes in, I tell people, I say, a country will get the leadership they deserve. My wife always argues with me, but a country will always get the leadership they deserve. You cannot fail as a father and be successful as a governor. It is impossible. It is impossible.
Come again, please. Come again.
People think that you can fail as...
Take that again. A country, take that statement again.
Which, okay. I say a country will get the leadership they deserve.
You cannot fail.
You cannot fail as a
father and expect to succeed as a governor.
Yeah, it's impossible. People think that you can be successful in business and not successful in family, and there's it's impossible. Like I tell, it's virtually impossible. It's virtually impossible. Virtually impossible. Right? It's virtually impossible. And all of that success that you think that you don't have time. Oh, Lagos is a busy place.
That's what I wanted to just add to it based on the question Bratayo asked. Talking about he didn't mention how we do us, you know, with our children, and in your explanation you did talk about being calm. So I was just thinking, how would you, with the hassles, like you were just trying to, the way Lagos, we are in Lagos, Nigeria, the way it is, where do we find that patience? Now, you mentioned the love. God has given the love, enough love to have children, like to love your children enough. But inside that love is patience. It means you can calm down and help a beginner go through that experiential learning of counting the numbers backwards and all of that. But in this kind of busy society, so in taking it back to you asking us directly, that's what we've decided to do. It was a tough decision, a very tough decision to say that, okay, we both want to be intentional about parenting. We want to give our best because we're looking at it's not really because of what we do, or people will say that you are doing this outside and your children and all this. It is in understanding what we do. It is in understanding it that we do not even have the capacity to bring about children that will be relevant in the society, or that should be ready in the kingdom of God. And so it requires time. So, as a matter of decision, did we even make the decision or whatever it is? We take our kids together to school every morning. It is not very convenient that we both had to be entrepreneurs. We both had to go into the ministry, and I can tell you that God has been taking care of us. That is the truth. Why? Because it is our decision. And then things now worked on, like the way things took shape and all of that. So maybe if there was a particular job, maybe for Carl, me, I've always been in this, but maybe if one oil company that carried Carl away, so maybe, but God now did it in a way that it was always in the corridor of these things that we now had to intentionally factor that time, because that patience requires time. If we had to wake up 6 a.m. to run to a particular place and come back and all of that, we won't be able to make it. So the kind of children we are raising are those kids that, in fact, like today, I was doing something and he had to take the kids to school alone. But then it was because we needed to go for the open day. And the school, they've also seen it that when it comes to things like that, you guys are there together. It's because of the kind of children we are raising too. So this is how we have been doing it. We've had our issues, we've had the hiccups and all of that. But we've been trusting God for time and resources to say that as long as Christ tarries and he keeps us alive, together, we want to do most of these things. We take the kids to school together. We try to bring them. So between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., we try to do all of our work. We do everything. We do our businesses. We do everything we have to do. When they come back, parenting takes place again. You get it? So that's just it. You need time. You need time to be there for the kids. And really, it doesn't mean that those are doing the 9 to 5 and all of that. Everything has got to do with planning. If you put structures in place, you put systems, you still will be able to do.
So
Awesome.
let me just say something quickly.
Awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we understand that there are a couple of parents who may, not for any reason of their fault, very to be very busy and unavailable. But again, it's important to note that like I said, parenting is your first constituency, and you need to take it. So you need to find every possible opportunity to parent and to parent right.
Sure.
So when you're talking, probably you're brushing the teeth of your child, you're dressing up, getting ready for school, you're driving them to school, you're driving out, you are paying for something at the mall. Every opportunity is an opportunity to parent. Because everything they see you do is an opportunity to parent. So there is no, when people say they are busy, you can never be too busy to parent. And if you understand that is your first assignment, because the truth is you'll be judged. You'll be judged based on on the way you parent, because you do not know what that child has been sent to the world to do. So it is important that you give that child all the necessary tools and enablement to help them fulfill destiny.
Sorry.
Okay.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I was just
okay, random.
Yeah. So it's really important, that the blood of that child is going to be on your head. So if you know that, then you know that you cannot be too busy to parent at any time.
So just to add to what Carl just said, talking about using every single opportunity to parent. I think I mentioned it the last time. There's something we started. Anytime we are driving to school, we do this routine, like we just talk about some things. Is it morning boost? Morning boost. We pick up teams and then we're talking. So this particular day, we're teaching the children while driving to school. I mean, talking about using every opportunity to parent. And then I just thought I was the one taking the lessons that morning. I just taught the kids something. At some point, we talked about prayers. And at some point, I told them, when you get to school, tell your friends Jesus loves them. And my daughter counted, I told 3 of my friends that Jesus loves you. Have you heard about Jesus? She did that. But another one, I told her, I said, when your teacher is done, it is okay to say thank you. I mean, it is not common, but you can actually walk up to your teacher and say, thank you for teaching me. So we went for the open date. So they went to the school. The first thing the teacher told me, she said, thank you, madam. And I was like, okay, thank you. What happened? I was expecting to hear the latches. Yeah, your daughter is not doing this. But she first of all said, thank you. I said, oh, why so? She said, this is the first time in her years of teaching that she will finish a class and a child will walk up to her and say, thank you, Mrs. Mention's name, for teaching us. In fact, the way the woman was saying it, you could literally tell that even she, the words did more than a lot to her. She was happy, like she made her day. She said, you know what? When she started it, she just goes and she says, thank you for teaching us. And then now it has become a tradition. Almost all the children in the class picked up the same. What did we do? It was just one of those mornings in our morning boost that I was just teaching them. I said, it's okay to say thank you. And then she did it, telling that woman thank you. The way the woman was saying it, you could tell that maybe that morning she was even upset. And she said, she told me thank you. She told me thank you. In her mind, and your parents is now. And I did what they paid for. She said that. I was like, wow. So we looked at ourselves. I was said, no opportunity is a waste to parents. Even when they are brushing their teeth, you say, this mouth will only speak right. This mouth will only say the right. This mouth will only bless. This man will not cause. Things like that. Every little opportunity to parent, no matter how busy you are. Thank you.
Wow. Awesome. 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 In fact, today's session is pure. When I mean pure, today's session is neat. Awesome. I wish you could see my notes. You can see my note. But to be candid, we've got to move these to the higher level. Why?
Yeah.
The people in authority, they need to sit there and sit down there. You've got to listen to these guys. You've got to listen to them. Why? Because these are the things we need now. Now, your final analogy boils down to what I said the other time. You've made the environment easy for the teacher already. So imagine the teacher is coming to the class with great men. I have wonderful students. It's going to make me happy. It's going to make me proud. So you made the environment ready for teachers already. You understand? So kudos to you. Thank you so much for doing that wonderful thing. Great thing. So before we leave tonight, our time is first spent. I just want you to talk about, there's a flyer I saw you're going to talk to us about your academy, why it's important for parents to come to your academy, why it's important for parents to inspire their kids to come to academy. Why? Because we might think we don't need such beautiful, awesome academy now. But you see, over time, seed sown, find a way to just sprout when the circumstances come up, when they face such situations. So you've got to tell people online now, and those who are going to see this later, why they must attend your academy. We're going to talk about it next week. We're going to intone. Why? Because you see, in as much that we want to take care of our parents, we want to take care of our kids, what you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And you see, there is what prayer can do. And somebody said, there is what prayer cannot do. I don't want to be religious, and I don't want to say people will start attacking me. There's nothing prayer cannot do. I believe you, yes, but it will send people to you. You understand? And part of the deliverance we need is listening to what we don't know.
Yeah.
You understand me, sir? So I'm not saying there's nothing prayer cannot do before some people should come and meet me and start attacking me. I never said that. But I just said there is a place of getting instruction.
Yeah.
Instruction for next level. So, but what you don't know, and you're going to pastor to ask him when you are meant to be in your academy, it's a waste of time. So tell us why we have to visit your academy, why we need to learn. Tell us what we're going to gain. Tell us the beauty of coming. Tell us the series, the level at which what we need to get between age 1 and 10, between age 10 and 20. Why? Because the environment is changing, the system is changing. Is it that we can use the last curriculum to solve today's challenge? No. So tell us why we must come to your academic, please. We need to know. Tell us, tell us, tell us. Over to you, sir. Over to you, man.
It's like speak it, like fire, fire. All right. So in fact, I did a broadcast message and I told them, I said, the truth is the fact that we have, or the truth, the fact, whatever, that we have parenting coaches today is because some parents were actually praying. So that's the place of prayer. When you pray, God raised people. God raised people. So it was God that said I should not go and walk in one back. It was God that said I should not go and sit down one place. Don't worry, I have called someone to be a banker. I have called someone to be here, to be in this office. But I've called you to the field. I've called you to go make research, like grassroots research on what these things are about. So I keep telling them, I said that we will have people like us dedicating our lives to what we do now. It's even because you have been praying. So that is prayer. So we don't pray and close our eyes. We pray and work. So when you are done praying, you into God. What is that instruction God has given to you? What is that? And it's so clear. Attend an academy, and that's it. So we have the academy for children. I mean, it is the feedback has been phenomenal. And I tell them, I said, it is not going to be a microwave change. A child is not formed in a day, and you're not going to reform or form or remove those things in a day or thereabouts. It was even 2 days we did the first one. And we had parents saying that this cannot just be for 2 days. We want it to be, we want our children to just be there. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that it's bringing a tribe of children. Most children are growing now. You teach them some things at home. They think it's just at home. You're just telling them. But they need to know that other children are trying to live that life too. So it's like building a community of children with like minds, a community of children learning. So we teach emotional intelligence, we teach sexuality, we teach values, we teach self-esteem, because self-esteem is a big deal. That's what we do in the academy. So registration usually goes for 3 months, and we have children all over. We had a particular family that were in Nigeria, and immediately after the first lockdown, they relocated to the US, and in Maryland, they relocated. And you know, the parents insisted that the children must continue with the academy, insisted that they will not stop. The issue we had was the time difference. Because US, I mean, we're about, so we have it every week, every weekend. So if we have a class for 2 p.m. here, our 2 p.m. is most likely they're still sleeping. You get it. So they said they would not prefer a one-on-one, but it must not stop. Now, this is because they saw where the children were, and that words are like seeds. The way it's dropping, they said they can't afford to stop this thing from dropping, and they don't mind. And we made the fee so flexible that if you are every 3 months, so if you are factoring the school fees, it's small. Just put this one, add it to school fees. It is just safe. We have a particular parent that says, yes, I know I teach my children, but if they can go to school, they can do this one. It's just safe. You can't overknow. I mean, they just left them there. So that is it. We've had tremendous feedback. And then we thought, we cannot just do this. Yes, you can join online, Mr. Idosa. It's online. It's online. We have from the US. We have from Canada. Yes, we have from Canada. We have from UK. We have the children online. That was what happened. It's been amazing. They do projects. They talk about things. We have different ages. So we broke them, and guess what? We make it so prophetic that, so for instance, ages 5 to 6, ages 5 to 7, we call them the rising stars. Ages 8 to 10, we call them solution providers. So we call them names. We call these categories names that are prophetic, and then we teach different things. That's what we do. You get it. And then the flyer you saw recently will now say you can't parent a 21st century child using a 19th century syllabus. It doesn't happen like that. And I used to tell my parents, I am not teaching you parenting before you think that this girl is coming to teach us parenting. Nobody teaches parenting. However, there are principles that can work. We are on the field. We have gathered some things that we can use to help. So this is coming from the feedback we have been getting from these children, and we think parents should learn what your kids are going through. We need to know what is happening. We need to know how to parent a child in this digital world. You cannot just pray it through. If you think you are even praying, then this program is an answer to your prayer. You get it? And I had to put that together. It's coming up in March to say that parents just come. This is like back to school. The more you think you know, the more you realize that there are so much things to know. So, we have parents that are showing interest already to say that we cannot do this on our own. It is overwhelming. A lot of things are happening. You get it? So that is just for 2 days, and that's for parents. It's coming up in March. But the academy is like a normal school. It's like a normal online, just weekends, that we teach all of these things: sexuality, character, values, emotional intelligence, a lot. That one happens for children from ages 5 to 17. From ages 5 to 17. Yes. And then for that one, for parents, the training for parent, that one is coming up in March. That is just 2 days.
Thank you so much. Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you for giving our world this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So you cannot parent 21st century child using 19th century mind. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's big. That's big. So you've got Idausa Fortress said, can you have this online? Yes, I guess you responded to that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So our time is fast spent now. We need to end this now. Thank you so much. You've really added to the global space today. And my God will increase you in all ramification. I'm looking forward to another wonderful session next week, Wednesday, as we continue parenting 101. It's a bomb. We're just starting and it's already increasing. And I want to thank everybody that joined us all over the world. Is Outer Fortress at the BC Thank you. She has been joining us. Thank you. Thank you for joining this. Thank you, Stephen Oji, Ustavile Food. Hey, Chairman is here. Our mentor, Tunde Election. Thank you for joining also. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. He spoke so excellently about you yesterday, telling us we must listen to you. And thank you for not disappointing Oga. You did it exceptional. Thank you so much. Thank you. Marriage Sparkles, thank you. Thank you. Talk and Excel, thank you. Abiola Todao, we've not spoken. We'll speak very soon. Atinoke, thank you. A lot of people online. Delight Culture, a lot of them. Duchi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We've come to the end of Parenting with Tim Carl this wonderful evening. Very soon this is going to be on the line. You can watch it again, see it again, and learn more. Lot of content here. Lot of huge content for you to grasp, for you to learn. If I were you, I'm going to download it and put it on my in any of my formats so that I can learn more and more. So see you again next week. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.